The bravest thing I ever did as a teenager happened at 2 in the morning with a screwdriver I stole from the garage. I was 16, and my sister was 13 when my dad locked them in her bedroom for getting a B- on a math test. The punishment started after dinner, and now it was past midnight with no bathroom access, no water, nothing since lunch. Through our shared wall, I heard crying that turned into these horrible, dry, heaving sounds like she was about to be sick. My dad slept 8 feet away across the hall and would beat us both if we woke him up, but my sister was literally suffering, and I couldn't just lay there listening anymore. I snuck down to the garage and grabbed a flathead screwdriver from my dad's toolbox, then stood outside my sister's door trying to figure out what to do. When I whispered through the crack, her voice came back all shaky, saying she really needed the bathroom, and her stomach hurt so bad she couldn't stand up straight. I looked at that brass lock and realized I had no clue how to pick it, and the tutorials on my phone needed tools I didn't have. I tried sliding my school ID between the door and frame, but this was a real deadbolt that wouldn't move at all. Our old house had floors that creaked with every single step, and my dad's door was so close I could hear him snoring. Then the snoring stopped for a second, and I froze until it started again, my legs actually shaking from fear. That's when I noticed 4 screws holding the door handle's exterior plate and figured maybe I could take the whole thing apart. The first screw took forever because I had to turn it so slowly to avoid making noise, and my hands were sweating so much I kept losing my grip. The second screw started to fall, and I barely caught it before it hit the floor, which would have woken everyone. My dad coughed in his sleep, and I stood there for what felt like an hour, not moving, not breathing, just waiting. The third screw was stripped, and I had to push harder, which made this tiny squeaking sound that sounded so loud in the quiet house. By the fourth screw, I could hear my sister throwing up into something on the other side of the door, and that made me work faster, even though faster meant more noise. With the plate finally off, I used the screwdriver to bend it completely out of the way. The door clicked open, and my sister rushed past me to the downstairs bathroom, while I had to put everything back together with my hands shaking. I was listening for any sound from my dad's room, knowing that if he woke up now and found my sister gone, we were done for. I was turning the final screw when my dad's door suddenly opened, and his voice boomed through the darkness. "What's going on?" My sister had just gotten back and ducked into her room so fast I barely saw them move. I pulled her door shut, knowing it looked locked, even though it would never lock again, then turned around with the screwdriver still in my hand. I couldn't sleep, so I was tightening the loose screws on my door handle because it's been rattling, I said, holding up the screwdriver where he could see it. My dad walked closer, squinting in the dark, and asked why I was at my sister's door if I was fixing my own. I was checking if hers was loose too, but it's fine, I lied, walking past him toward my room like everything was normal. He grabbed my arm hard enough to bruise and said if he found out I was lying, I'd regret it for the rest of my life. I just nodded and pulled away, heading to my room while he went to my sister's door and actually tried the handle. It didn't turn from the outside because it still looked locked, and he grunted and went back to bed. But then he stopped in his doorway and came back, putting his key in the lock and turning it. I heard the mechanism click like it always did, but I knew it wasn't actually locking anything anymore. He finally went back to his room, and I laid in my bed for an hour before I dared to whisper through the wall that my sister could open the door from inside whenever she needed to. Every time he locked my sister in that room, she could get out once he fell asleep, and we'd meet in the kitchen where I'd have water and crackers waiting. Now we're adults with no contact with that dad, and sometimes we joke that the lock probably still doesn't work and he still has no idea.